If we're looking for the equation of a circle, we realize straight away, all we need are two things, the center of the circle and radius. Confirm you understand, these are the only two things we need to look for to do this question over here for 5 marks. Yeah, just explain to you like what they're expecting you to realize. It means you need to look for a center and you need to look for the radius of said equation of the circle. And then without further ado, you realize this information they give to you to find the center of the circle and the radius. This is where you might get confused. You might be thinking, these are 3 arbitrary points, aren't they? As in, we know these are 3 points on the circle, but they're not certain points. Like, as in, the easy scenario would be if they told you A and B are going to create the diameter of the circle. That's easy. Find the midpoint. But it's not the case here, is it? See my point? Like, supposedly, if there was something difficult about this question, it would be the fact that these are 3 points that don't appear to have any relationship that allow you to work out what the center of the circle is going to be. Agreed? That would be the hard part if there was a hard part. So what you realize over here is, so assuming you know the basics of coordinate geometry over here, you understand that if you were to plot this, not saying you have to, but if you were to, because think about it this way, right? I'm explaining to you in real time what would happen in an exam. What would likely happen is you probably think to, if it's not obvious to you, best scenario, all right, obviously you're supposed to be able to write everything straight away, full solution. If that doesn't happen, what would you do? You'd focus on maybe drawing some points to illustrate where A, B, and C are going to be. Maybe this would be 9, doesn't have to be perfect, but illustrate at least the correct relationship. 1, 9, like that, 7, 1. So 7, 1 would be like this over here. 7, 9 is going to be over here. 1, 9 over here. So if these were 3 points on the curve like this, on the circle, just draw an arbitrary circle like that. My point is this, as long as you realize, here's a relationship that allows you to work out the center. You'd have to realize that if this is A and this is B, this is C, for example, midpoint perpendicular bisector of A, like that, B and C perpendicular bisector, like that, is going to create the center of the circle. That's what they're really testing you on. Okay? So it just means A to B perpendicular bisector, B to C perpendicular bisector. Understand where those two lines, those two perpendicular bisectors, where they crisscross, that one point in the middle, is going to be the center of the circle. So without further ado, you realize, oh, hang on a minute. We need the equation for A and B first, don't we? The perpendicular bisector of AB, which is a straight line, which is y minus y1. This equation we've used over here, isn't it? You can tell. So, oh, well, what do we need? We need this midpoint, don't we? So we just go ahead and symbol the midpoint. We need the gradient of that perpendicular bisector, don't we? Now, think about it this way, okay? Perpendicular bisector, the mistake you would make over here is you might be thinking, well, 9 minus 1 divided by 7 minus 7. You might come across a math error over here and wonder what the fuck's going on over here, isn't it? Because the gradient AB needs to be found first. No confusion. You know why you have to find the AB gradient first and then do negative 1 divided by that to find the perpendicular bisector. But you'd have a problem over here, wouldn't you? If you did it the typical way for finding the gradient 7, 1, 7, 9, it'd be 9 minus 1 divided by 7 minus 7. It's going to be infinity. It's going to be a math error. 9 minus 1 divided by 7 minus 7 is 8 divided by 0. That's going to be infinity. This is where you realize, look at A and B. A and B are technically what? They have the same x value, meaning A would be like this, wouldn't it? B would be like this. This basic relationship, you understand that they're a vertical line. A vertical line is a gradient of infinity. Therefore, the perpendicular bisector, the perpendicular gradient, is just going to be a gradient of 0. That's why we've written gradient equals to 0. And then very intuitively over here, in a clean way, we can just substitute this in, y minus 5, bracket x minus 7, just like that. And that's where you have y is equal to 5. That's the equation for the perpendicular bisector of AB. Perpendicular bisector of BC, you understand why we're doing this? Remember, bisector of this, overlap to find the center. The point of intersection of this bisector and this bisector finds the center of the curve. That's how you do the question over here. And then BC over here, same concept over here. Midpoints, no confusion, 7 plus 1 divided by 2, 9 plus 9 divided by 2, midpoints. The y minus y1 part. And now the gradient of this is, remember, they're going to be both on the same horizontal line, aren't they? 7, 1. Imagine you have a grid like this, right? It's like this, right? This is B and C. Point is they're going to be on a horizontal line, therefore the gradient is just going to be vertical. If it's a vertical line, isn't it just going to be the halfway point between 1 and 7, which is 4, x equals to 4? You have the two equations now. Where are they going to overlap? Y is equal to 5, x equals to 4, isn't that just going to be 4, 5? See how that logic works? This is where intuition has to wrap your head around it, yeah? You have to comprehend how exactly x equals to 4 and then y equals to 5 overlap at 4, 5. As in, this is the perpendicular bisector, AB, BC, they meet at the point 4, 5, which represents the center of the circle. And now once you have the center of the circle, any distance from the center to any one of these points is going to be the radius, isn't it? Remember, every single circle ever centered onto any point is going to be the radius. We've got 3 possible points, so let's just do the center distance from 4, 5 to maybe, say, 1, 9. It's going to be difference in 4 minus 1 squared. 5 minus 9 squared, added together, Pythagoras, distance formula, remember? It's going to be 5 over here. And then just do x minus 4, y minus 5, equals to this, for general format of a circle equation. Part B, finding the, you don't have any questions for part A, do you? Recognize, do you agree? The hard part of part A would just, if there were a hard part, it was recognizing the perpendicular bisector of AB and BC is how you would find the center of the circle. Let's keep that in mind. Equation of the tangent of the circle at B. Tangent is a straight line, y minus y1, that's what we realize. We just need a certain point and we need a gradient for that tangent. Well, we know what the point we're going to use is. It's going to be 7 and 9, so y minus 9 equals to x minus 7. We just need the gradient. How do we find the gradient? It's negative 1 divided by the gradient between what? Think about it, if B is over here, right, because B is just a point in the circle, we've got the center of the circle, 4,5. This gradient over here, and doing perpendicular one, is going to be the gradient of the tangent, isn't it? Which is negative 1 divided by B to the center. So we find the gradient of B to the center. B to the center. 9 minus 5 is 4. 7 minus 4 is 3. Negative 1 divided by that gives you the gradient of the tangent, which we substitute over here for the y minus y1 universal formula, straight line formula. Rearrange is the answer for the equation of the tangent to the circle at B.